Part 1, The World of Otomba. The evening sun bathed Ibadan in golden light, the rooftops glowing like sheets of copper. From the bustling market of Dugby to the crowded streets of Mokola, the city pulsed with its usual life, Okodas weaving dangerously between buses, traders shouting, High above the noise, on a hilltop in Oluyole Estate, stood a mansion that seemed carved out of pride itself. Its white walls glistened, the iron gates towered like sentinels, and a line of gleaming cars, Lexus, Mercedes, Range Rover, sat in the compound as though on parade. Anyone passing by slowed their steps, their eyes filled with awe. This was the home of Chief Agboola, whom all called Otomba, the man of wealth. At 58, Otomba's presence still commanded fear and respect. He was tall, with broad shoulders that age had not yet broken. His eyes were sharp, his beard streaked with dignified grey, and he carried himself with the confidence of a man who had conquered life. His agbada, always immaculate, swept across the floor like a king's robe. Inside his mansion, servants hurried like bees in a hive. Drivers polished the cars even when there was no dust. Maids adjusted curtains that were already perfect. The chef prepared meals fit for a banquet, though only 3 people lived in the house. To visitors, Otomba was success itself, a man who had risen from small beginnings as a cocoa merchant to become a real estate giant. His story was repeated at gatherings, his name invoked as an example for the young. But beneath the admiration lay whispers too. Whispers that Otomba's heart had grown hard, that his wealth was not merely a blessing but also a shield he used to measure and dismiss others. Bola, his treasure. In the upstairs room of the mansion, Bolanao, or Bola, as everyone fondly called her, stood before her mirror. At 20, she was the jewel of her father's household. Her oval face reflected innocence, her almond-shaped eyes sparkled like morning dew, and her braids fell down her back in long, flowing strands. She leaned closer to the mirror, adjusting her earrings, then stepped back with a sigh. The clothes, the jewelry, the fine perfumes on her dressing table, they were plenty, yet her heart longed for something simpler. Something real. Her father loved her fiercely, but his love was a cage made of gold. He monitored her friendships, questioned her every outing, and carefully rejected suitors he did not consider worthy. To him, Bola was an investment, one that must yield returns in influence and prestige. Bola now, came his booming voice from downstairs. Yes, Daddy, she replied quickly, smoothing her dress. She hurried down the marble staircase to where he sat in the living room, his agbada spreading around him like an ocean. My jewel, he said, smiling as he looked at her. I spoke with Senator Adeyemi today. His son, Femi, will return from London next month. He is a fine young man, already working with an oil company. I want you to meet him. Bola swallowed, her heart sinking. She had heard this tone before. Daddy, she said softly, I'm not ready to meet anyone yet. I just want to focus on school. Otomba's smile faded. His eyes, sharp as knives, studied her face. Bola, you are 20. Do you think time will wait for you? You are my only daughter. I will not allow you to waste yourself on just anyone. Bola lowered her gaze, hiding the storm in her heart. For weeks now, she had been living with a secret her father must never discover. Mama Beo and the Akora store. Meanwhile, across town in the heart of Ibadan, another scene unfolded. The air smelled of hot oil, pepper, and onions. Smoke rose from a frying pan set upon a charcoal stove by the roadside. There, with sweat on her forehead and a wrapper tied tightly around her waist, stood Mama Beo, flipping balls of akara in the bubbling oil. By your hot akara. Fresh akara for your bread, she called out, her voice carrying above the honking of downfalls. Children pressed coins into her hands. Traders stopped by for quick snacks. Every naira she earned, she tucked carefully into her pouch, wiping her brow with the edge of her wrapper. She was a woman who had tasted hardship, but her pride lay in her son, Adebeo, or Beo. That very evening, Beo appeared by her side, his books tucked under his arm, his smile bright despite the long day. His low-cut hair was neatly brushed, his shirt a little worn but always clean. Mama, let me help you, he said, taking the slotted spoon from her hand. "Oh, Beo," she sighed, looking at him with pride. "You should be resting. All day you're at school, and still you come here. One day, my son, this Accra stand will only be a memory. God will lift you higher." Beo smiled, his eyes full of quiet determination. "Yes, Mama. One day. I will make you proud." 2 words, 1 fate. Unbeknownst to Otumba, fate had already begun weaving its thread. At church, during a youth fellowship, Bola and Beo's paths crossed. She noticed the way he helped arrange chairs without being told, the way he greeted people with warmth. He noticed the brightness in her smile, the kindness in her eyes. From small conversations came longer ones. From shy glances grew laughter. From friendship blossomed love. It was a love that ignored the distance between a mansion on the hill and a roadside Accra stand. It was a love that, one day, would shake the very pride of a man who thought wealth was the only measure of worth. Part 2, The Meeting. The church compound was alive with music that evening. The youth fellowship choir had gathered in the open hall, their voices rising in praise, accompanied by drums and the steady rhythm of a keyboard. Bola sat among the young women in the second row, swaying gently as she sang, her long braids brushing against her shoulders. It was there, under the glow of fluorescent lights and the hum of worship, that her eyes fell on him, Beo. He wasn't on the stage, nor was he in the front rows. Instead, he moved quietly among the youth ushers, helping to set up more chairs for latecomers. His shirt was plain but neatly ironed, his steps purposeful, his smile genuine as he guided people to their seats. Something about him drew her in. It wasn't wealth or clothing, no, it was something deeper. A calmness. A steadiness. First words. After the service ended, Bola lingered by the church gate, waiting for her friend Yotond. She adjusted her scarf, scrolling absently through her phone, when a voice spoke beside her. "Excuse me," the voice said, polite yet warm. She turned. It was him. Beo. Standing close enough for her to see the kindness in his eyes. "You dropped this during service." He extended a pen toward her. "Oh?" Bola gasped softly, recognizing it. "Thank you." Their hands brushed briefly as she took it. For a moment, the words seemed to pause. "You sing beautifully," Beo said, his voice quiet but sincere. Bola smiled, a little surprised. "You noticed?" He nodded. Hard not to. Before she could reply, Yotond arrived, calling her name. Bola gave a quick nod to Beo and left, but her heart raced all the way home. Friendship blossoms. Over the next weeks, their paths crossed often at church. At first, it was small things, a greeting, a brief conversation, a shared laugh. Then came longer talks, after evening programs, under the dim glow of streetlights, with the night air cool around them. "So, what do you study?" Bola asked one evening as they walked. "Medicine," Beo replied. "I want to become a doctor." Her eyebrows lifted in admiration. "That's amazing. It must be hard." He chuckled softly. "It is. But my mother believes in me, and I can't let her down. She sacrifices so much already." Bola's heart warmed at the way he spoke of his mother. "You're lucky," she said quietly. "My father, he gives me everything, but sometimes it feels like I live in a cage." Beo glanced at her, his eyes thoughtful. "Maybe one day, you'll be free to choose for yourself." Their eyes met, and a silence passed between them, not awkward, but charged with something unspoken. Secret meetings. Soon, their friendship deepened into something neither could deny. They found excuses to linger after fellowship, to walk a little further together, to share thoughts they couldn't voice to anyone else. Beo would tell her stories of his mother frying akara, of the long nights he spent studying by lantern light. Bola would confess her dreams of seeing the world beyond Ibadan, beyond her father's watchful eyes. One evening, as they stood by the church gate, Bola hesitated before speaking. "Beo," she whispered, her voice almost lost in the night breeze, "I think about you. More than I should." He looked at her, his heart pounding. "Bola," he took a step closer. "I think about you too. In that moment, under the stars, the truth blossomed. Their hands touched, and though no word of love were spoken, both hearts knew this was more than friendship. The first warning. But love has eyes, and so does the world. One Sunday afternoon, as Bola prepared to leave church, she heard her father's driver call her name. "Oh, Auntie Bola, good afternoon," the man greeted, his eyes sharp. "I saw you the other day, walking with that boy. The Akora woman's son." Bola's heart skipped. "Please," she whispered quickly, "don't tell my father." The driver smirked, shrugging. Secrets have a way of finding their way out. As she sat in the back of her father's car that day, her heart pounded with fear. She knew her father's pride. She knew what his answer would be. But she also knew something else: she could not let go of Bayo. Two different worlds. That night, in the mansion, Bola sat quietly at the dinner table as Otomba discussed politics with a guest. The chandelier sparkled above, the table laden with dishes fit for royalty. Yet her mind wandered to the roadside Akora stand, to Bayo's smile, to the simplicity of his world. Meanwhile, across town, Bayo sat by a lantern, his textbook spread before him. His mother snored softly in the corner after a long day of frying Akora. The room was small, the air stuffy, but his heart was light, because Bola's laughter still echoed in his ears. Two different worlds. One heartbeat. It was only a matter of time before those worlds would collide. Part 3, The Dreamer's Struggle. The tension began quietly, like a whisper in the wind. For weeks, Bola had managed to keep her meetings with Bayo a secret, but secrets are fragile things. And in the world of the wealthy, where eyes and ears lurk everywhere, her secret could not stay hidden forever. Otomba's discovery. It was on a Saturday morning when Otomba Agbola first heard the rumor. He was seated in his lounge, sipping imported tea, when his old friend Alhaji Karim leaned close during conversation. "Agbola, be careful, oh," Karim said, his voice low. "They say your daughter is moving around with one poor boy. The Akora seller's son." Otomba's hand froze on the teacup handle. "What nonsense are you saying?" "I heard it myself," Karim insisted. "I even saw them once, after evening fellowship. The boy is not bad looking, but Agbola, he is poor. Very poor. How can your only daughter mix herself with such?" Otomba's jaw tightened, anger rising in his chest. He dismissed Karim with forced politeness, but inside, a storm was brewing. That evening, he summoned Bola. Father and daughter. She walked into his study, her steps cautious. The shelves towered with books, the air thick with the scent of expensive leather and wood polish. "Sit," Otomba commanded, his deep voice filling the room. Bola obeyed, folding her hands nervously on her lap. "I will ask you once," he began, his eyes piercing hers. "Who is this Bayo?" Her heart dropped. For a moment, she tried to feign ignorance, but her father's gaze was too sharp. She lowered her eyes. "He is a friend." "Friend?" Otomba thundered. "Do not insult me. I hear you walk with him, laugh with him, whisper like lovers." "Bola, my daughter." "The daughter of Agbola, Otomba of Ajegunle, with the son of an Akora seller." Tears welled in her eyes. "Papa, he is a good man. He is kind, hardworking. He has dreams." "Dreams do not feed the stomach," Otomba roared. He stood abruptly, his abode sweeping like wings. "Do you know who you are? You are the daughter of wealth, the pride of my name. And you want to throw it away for a boy who smells of beans oil." Bola sobbed quietly, her voice trembling. "But I love him." The word struck Otomba like a curse. He turned away, pacing the room, his chest heaving. Then he faced her again, his voice cold. "Listen carefully, Bola. If I ever see you with that boy again, I swear on my name, you will regret it. Love is nothing without wealth. And I will not allow my daughter to marry poverty." Bola ran from the room, her heart breaking, but her love for Bayo unshaken. Bayo's pain. That night, under the dim light of a kerosene lamp, Bayo listened to Bola's trembling voice over the phone as she recounted her father's words. "I don't know what to do," Beo," she whispered through tears. "He will never accept us." Beo's heart ached. He wanted to promise her the word, to shield her from her father's anger. But what did he have? A poor room, worn clothes, and a mother whose hands bore the scars of hot oil from years of frying akra. "Bola," he said softly, fighting back his own tears, "I may not have wealth now, but I swear to you, I will not remain like this. One day, I will stand where your father cannot look down on me." She sniffled. "I believe you, Beo." Those words became his fire. The opportunity. Weeks later, hope arrived like an unexpected dawn. Beo's university announced a scholarship program for outstanding students to study medicine abroad. The competition was fierce, but Beo's grades shone among the best. He applied, pouring every ounce of his heart into the essays, every drop of his sweat into the exams. The day the result came, he held the letter in trembling hands. He had been chosen. A full scholarship to the United States of America. When he told his mother, she broke down in tears, her rough hands clutching his shoulders. "Oh, Oluwa son. God has remembered us." Beo hugged her tightly, his own tears falling. In that moment, he knew, this was the beginning of his rise. The farewell. The night before his departure, Bola found a way to meet him secretly. They stood by the church gate where their story had begun, the cool night air heavy with unspoken words. "So this is goodbye," Bola whispered, her voice shaking. "Not goodbye," Beo said firmly. He held her hands, his eyes burning with determination. "Just wait for me. Give me time. I will return. And when I do, I will come for you, not as a poor boy, but as a man your father cannot reject." Bola's tears spilled freely. She pressed a small necklace into his palm. "Keep this. So you don't forget me." He kissed her forehead gently. "Never." And so, with a heart full of hope and pain, Beo boarded the plane that would carry him across the ocean, toward struggle, toward sacrifice, and toward destiny. Part 4, The Rise of Beo. The plane ride to America was both thrilling and terrifying for Beo. He had never left Nigeria before, never sat inside a machine that soared above the clouds. As the engines roared, he clutched the necklace Bola had given him, whispering a silent prayer. "Lord, guide me. For her. For Mama. For myself." First days in America. The United States was nothing like a burden. The air was colder, the streets broader, the buildings taller than anything he had ever seen. The people moved quickly, speaking with accents that sometimes twisted his ears. His scholarship covered tuition, but living expenses were another battle. He shared a cramped apartment with 2 other international students. The heater groaned in the winter, and the nights were sometimes so cold his bones ached. Still, he endured. During the day, he attended classes, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry. At night, he worked shifts in a small grocery store, stacking shelves and mopping floors. On weekends, he cleaned offices for extra money. He would call Mama Beo when he could, her voice warm despite the distance. "Mommy, don't worry," he would assure her. "I am fine. Just keep praying for me." And she would laugh softly. "Oh, Beo, I know my prayers will carry you. Don't forget why you're there." The weight of loneliness. There were nights when loneliness gnawed at his heart. He missed the smell of Mama's akra frying in the morning. He missed the rhythm of Yoruba voices, the sound of hawkers calling in the street. Most of all, he missed Bola. Sometimes, after a long day of classes, he would find a quiet corner in the library and call her. "Bola," he would whisper. Beo, her voice, though faint through the phone, was like a balm to his soul. They spoke of their days, their dreams, and their longing. She told him of her struggles at home, how her father brought suitors, wealthy men with polished shoes and fancy cars, but her heart refused them all. "I'm waiting for you," she told him one night. "No matter how long it takes." And Beo, tears in his eyes, vowed silently to be worthy of that promise. Trials and triumphs. The years passed, and with them came both hardship and triumph. In his second year, Beo nearly broke under the pressure. Exams piled up, work hours stretched long, and his health began to falter. One night, exhausted, he fainted while studying. His friends rushed him to the hospital, and the doctor told him, "You need rest, son. You can't carry the world on your shoulders." But Bill remembered Bola's face, Momo's sacrifices, and the hunger in his own heart. Rest was a luxury he could not afford. So he rose again, steadier, stronger. By his final year, his professors had begun to notice him, the Nigerian student with unyielding determination and sharp brilliance. He graduated with honors, earning not just his medical degree but also the respect of his peers. A new life. With his first paycheck as a resident doctor, Bill did something that brought him more joy than anything else. He bought a plane ticket for Mama Bill. When she arrived, her wrapper carefully tied, her eyes wide with wonder, she embraced him with tears. "Oh, Bill. My son, look how far God has brought you." He took her to his modest but comfortable apartment. No longer would she sweat in the sun, frying akara by the roadside. Now she could rest, her years of sacrifice rewarded. Success. 5 years after leaving Nigeria, Bill stood tall. He was now a fully practicing medical doctor in one of America's bustling hospitals. His colleagues respected him, his patients loved him, and his name carried weight far beyond the Accra stall where his story began. But even with all the success, he never forgot his promise. On his desk, beside his medical certificates, lay the necklace Bola had given him. He touched it often, whispering her name like a prayer. And across the ocean, in Nigeria, Bola touched her own necklace, still waiting, still believing.